Hello, hello, this is Pure Miss, and welcome back to game number 3 between Team EG and vVv Gaming. We have vVv Murder coming out to try to stem the complete rage, and I don't mean that in the sort of like Idra rage kind of way, but completely like sort of gameplay domination kind of play coming in from EG Idra here. Idra dispatching the first two players of vVv Angry very, very readily, however. We're going to see what vVv Murder can do versus this GSL round of 8, possibly one of the best Zergs out there lately. And recently, if you haven't seen in the latter game, Idra actually took out I'm MVP, who was the GSL winner. I mean, Idra taking him out in what was it, like an hour-long Zerg versus Terran. That was amazing. I think Artosis cast that, so if you haven't seen that, I definitely recommend checking that out. It is an extremely long game, however. I mean, just get yourself a glass of OJ and maybe a nice ham sandwich or something like that, and sit back and just enjoy the carnage in that game. However, enough about that game. You are actually tuned into the SCL game number 3 between vVv Gaming and EG Idra. Idra actually taking 2-0, as I mentioned before. And these guys are going to be playing it out on Lost Temple. We got the Overlord from Idra, not even bothered to hide and divert its path so that Murder doesn't know where he is. Just going to go right into the base, going to scout everything that's going on. Murder is not really trying anything too crazy, and Murder, since he knows where Idra is, he's going to be able to scout Idra immediately. This game, Idra, unlike games number 1 and 2, if you've been tuning into that, has not actually gone for the spawning pool first, instead going for the hatchery first. So yeah, we're gonna see what he makes of that. Meanwhile, Murder looks like he's gonna set things up for pretty standard play. However, Lost Temple in Terran versus Zerg really gives the Terran a lot of options, and especially in these positions, give Terran possibly even more options, because what you can do is you can go for the Banshees because of the short rush distance. This is almost like scrap station in these spawn positions, and you can also drop the siege tanks right on this cliff here and shell the natural expansion very readily, so that forces the Zerg player to either get spine crawlers at the very edge of his natural expansion, which might be a little bit too big of an investment that a lot of Zerg players don't want to make, or they have to tech up to those Mutalisks sooner than they possibly want to, just because of the nature of this map. So we're going to see which route Murder takes. I think it's up to Murder to control the pace of this game, because if he lets Idra run away and do whatever he wants, it's not going to be fun for for our Terran player vVv Murder here. And meanwhile, we have very fast stim coming in from the purple Terran. We're going to see what he makes use of that. He's only got 1 barracks, though, and he's sending it down the command center. So I'm a little bit confused at this rush to stim pack, because he's not really going to have the army to maximize the use of that. Overlord trying to sneak into the back. This is very dangerous. However, he's managing to hide in the fog of war, so he's not going to get picked off readily by these scouring Marines. Meanwhile, 2 Zerglings moving down the map for EG Idra, going to scout out the base of vVv Murder. Going to see these 4 Marines taking a forward position, possibly suspect the expansion. He misses the bunker, so he can't be really for sure. However, this Overlord in this Overlord in the base has not really gotten too much information. I mean, all he sees is the SCV mining. So I guess you can get a good count of the SCVs, but that's about it. There we go, 2 Zerglings now chilling at the Zelnautic Tower, going to be forced to move away by these Marines. Idra does not want to lose the Zerglings early on, because that's going to force him to make more Zerglings just to feel safe to having this natural expansion up. That's going to cost him drones, obviously. Meanwhile, Lair about 3/4 of the way done for our Zerg player, and he's gonna looks like ready to set the creep tumor, and possibly Queen just chilling at the edge of the creep there. Meanwhile, Idra, let's see if he's seen this command center yet. Oh man, so the Overlord just barely misses this command center, so Idra doesn't quite know that there's a command center yet. However, he can get a good count on the SCVs, and once he sees the SCVs move and transfer, he's gonna know that there's an expansion, obviously. So we have a couple Marines now out for vVv Murder. Again, this early stim pack really not paying off with that early 100 gas investment and 100 minerals. But yeah, we're going to see if he can make use of it. Now he's going to meet with some Zerglings. There we go. The stim going to go off. Let's see if that's going to be enough to ward off all these Zerglings. I don't know. He's doing some great micro, I have to say. But looks like the Zerglings are going to be a little bit too much. And there we go. All the Marines fall in the middle of Lost Temple here in the 7-minute mark of the game. So Murder is going to be extremely light on troops. He does have the 2 bunkers out now. But he can't even fill all those 2 bunkers now. Now getting a 3rd bunker even. I think this is a little bit too much defense. But yeah, he just wants to be really, really safe, having gone for this expansion against Idra. Idra, meanwhile, going for the fast spire again. He does not want to get caught off guard by the tanks in the by the tank cliff drops. And again, this is sort of Idra style. He loves going the Zergling Mutalisks and then into Baneling's transition. So I'm definitely not surprised, and definitely a great option on this map. And look at Murderers. He still doesn't even have enough Marines to fill these bunkers, despite being 8 minutes in the game and having gone for the faster stim. Meanwhile, Factory now going down for vVv Murder. He's going to try to get his tech up and running, and this is going to be a starport going down for him as well, so he's just going to get the medevacs out to help with these Marines. We got combat shields going down for him as well, again, once more to power up these Marines. Marines, meanwhile, going to chill at the Zelnar Tower and possibly try to do some more damage. Looks like he's going to preemptive strike this 3rd expansion that's non-existent, unfortunately, for these Marines, so not going to be able to catch anything. Looks like Murder really expects the 3rd base from Idra. Going to move all around the map. However, he's got to be really careful to not get these guys trapped sort of between anything, because he can't afford to lose his entire army once again. Now Zergling's moving down the middle of the map. We're going to see if Idra tries to be aggressive with these guys or not. Zergling completely seeing this, so Idra knows the troop movements from Murder, and look at this army already up for Idra, and look at this small Marine force from vVv Murder going to get picked off in the middle of the map once again. Oh, just getting caught out. And this is the mistake that we saw who was it, vVv Angry last game make. Just a little task forces of Marines getting wiped out, doing nothing in return. Meanwhile, Idris is going to move right into the main base with the Mutilas and Zerglings, and I'm maybe calling this a little bit early, but this could do a ton of damage that might not be able to be reversed from Murder. He's getting a lot of Zerglings here in the main, here in the front. He might even catch the siege tank. Siege tank wisely moving to the protection of the Marines. SCVs now being pulled off. Mutalisks just going at the Marines. Now there's no anti-air. I think Idra has this at this point. There's nothing out on the field that can challenge those Mutalisks from Idra. Murder desperately trying to pump out the Marines, but again, SCV is not really going to help, especially with these Mutalisks flying around in the air. And there's nothing, like I said before, to challenge these Mutalisks. Would not be surprised to see the GG called for Murder at this point. Idra now even getting the 3rd base up, knowing that he pretty much has this game in the bag. Just going to solidify his win even harder. And Murder just valiantly trying to stay in this game, trying to wear Idra out for the next game against his team's last chance against this extremely strong Zerg player. And Idris sort of mopping things up right now, just waiting for the GG, as am I pretty much. Murder not really going to call it just yet. He feels possibly that, I don't think he feels he has a chance. Maybe he's just trying to get Idra tired, stimming in with just not enough Marines to deal with the Mutalisks right now. Mutalisks doing some nice macro. I mean, Idra right now is just sort of probably sitting back in his chair, just making units right now. And there's the HHGG coming in from vVv Murder. Idra not perturbed, and he's going to take EG to a 3-0 lead here against vVv Gaming, and that is huge, guys. See you in game number 4, which could be possibly the last game in the series if Idra manages to all kill.